Hello and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. My intention with all of these videos is to assist in raising the frequency and the vibration with one another and on Mother Earth. So thank you. Thank you to everybody watching these videos. Thank you for all your comments and questions and emails. And I'm doing my best to keep up. And I'm very appreciative of everybody who is sharing this now moment with one another and with myself. These videos are a little mix of light language, keep it simple starseed stuff, downloads, activations, a little bit of everything. I'm just kind of going for it because I've limited on the time that I have to put into the videos currently. That'll be changing very soon. But in the meantime, I'm doing what I can with the time that I have because these downloads are coming in every day and it's constant and I want to get it out there. So if you didn't watch the video number 1 on this, I invite you to go back and watch it. It's a long one. And I kind of was all over the place because when I get into flow, sometimes that's the way it happens. So I'm going to try to do my best to keep this short and sweet. Video number 1 has the light language activation for kind of letting go of old belief systems and integrating from 3D to 5D from one perspective of stepping into your power, becoming a leader. So if you want to just go back and watch the light language portion of that, I encourage you to do that. And then just, so I'm going to do a recap so you don't have to go back and watch that video unless you want to. Again, the light language, though, I'll go into something different for this video. So I'm going to start with just a recap of all this. And you guys, apologies for my artwork. When I'm in flow, I'm just kind of writing really fast. And so these videos are made with love and light. So sometimes I say certain things and they're not opinions. They just come through and there's no judgment in any of it. There's no wrong or right from where I'm coming from. And I really do invite everybody to have an open heart and an open mind when watching these videos because your belief is your belief and I honor that. That's all I'm going to say about that. So my last video, there was some things that came through that if somebody has a certain belief about it, they're automatically going to go into that rabbit trail. I'm hearing rabbit hole, so to speak. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But I invite you to feel into what I'm saying and rather than really analyzing it because some of this isn't literal. Okay, so I drew Dr. Emoto's water experiment. This is water holds memory. A lot of the weather that's going on is to cleanse and clear the water. Snowflakes are landing on Earth. They're going to eventually melt and cleanse a lot of things and move through the Earth in order to assist. I didn't talk about this in the first video. In order to assist in transmuting and clearing some of the energies, right? Each snowflake is an individual expression of the oneness of water, which is an individual expression of the elements that are an individual expression of source energy, right? And water holds a vibration and it holds a memory. Water is a living, conscious creation, we'll call it. So we are all snowflakes. We hold 70% or more of water. When we tell our bodies something, our bodies listen. I might just go into this and call this the video and try to make it shorter. So our bodies listen to us, okay? And we vibrate at that frequency in which we tell ourselves that we are vibrating at. Again, this is from an open perspective and I'm in flow right now. So this is like a guidance for my higher guidance team saying this for me. If we are here, let's say we're a star, and we're a star here, okay? And what I did is I drew that star in dark, and I drew a star in light. And essentially, I'm this snowflake, we'll say, and perhaps somebody who's a very unhappy person is this snowflake. That's their own unique expression. This is my own unique expression. It doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it right. It just is, okay? So as this snowflake, we're all connected like little bubbles, right? And essentially, we all vibrate and we're affecting the field around us, and we are affecting Mother Earth. I'm just going to go with this. And so as we affect Mother Earth, the message that came through in my last video was, don't dump on Mother Earth. The reason, and this is what I'm going to call dumping, right? Some are in the belief that Mother Earth is here to raise our frequency and she is here for us, and that is true. Others believe that we are here for her, and that is true from my own perspective, and I'll talk about truth in a minute. But what happens is if our truth is that we are ugly and life sucks and blah, 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 those energies are essentially going out into the field around us that Earth is also existing in. Okay? So we're here to assist each other, and we're helping transmute for the Earth, and Earth is helping transmute and cleanse for us. It works both ways. Now, if we're constantly feeding ourselves with truths, so I'm going to skip to thoughts, create words, create actions, create deeds, creation. Not necessarily in that order. I'm just sharing that. If we're constantly thinking these thoughts about ourselves and or about Mother Earth, then that is creating this snowflake. That is the memory that we are holding, and that is the memory that is held in the water in our bodies, and that we're projecting into the Earth also, or the memory that Earth is holding that we are giving to her from one perspective. And so now we have this, okay? Now, the messages that were coming through, we're being invited to step up as leaders. We're being invited to take responsibility for our actions, and how we respond, our ability to respond, is directly affecting Mother Earth. It is directly affecting one another. It is directly affecting everything. So if we are not taking responsibility for our thoughts, words, deeds, and actions, we are then blaming it possibly on something else. We're maybe feeling a victim, or we're creating victims and victimizers and blah, blah, blah. So the idea is that that's a very third dimensional energy from what my guidance team is sharing with me. Here we have taking responsibility for our actions and not blaming somebody or someone else for the actions that they chose to take, but saying, I no longer choose to support that. And so therefore I no longer plug into that old matrix or into that old earth energy or that third dimensional dense energy. Okay? And I'm not going to get into third dimensional, fifth dimensional earth quite in as much detail as I did the last video. So as we feed into that, it's a collaboration. Okay? So being responsible for our thoughts, words, deeds, and actions, and what we are creating. That's the 5D way of things from my perspective. Also taking responsibility for our bodies. We have ascension symptoms. They vary. There's tons of ascension symptoms. It's, again, not necessarily creating a reality based around our debilitating ascension symptoms. If we are in that space, then we are in a healing mode, and it's honoring that where we're at and meeting it with, I'm in healing mode, things are happening, I don't hate myself, I love myself, I bless my body, I bless my situation, I bless my ascension symptoms. I was even inviting us to use a different word besides symptoms, thinking of SIM card. What are we plugging into? And get to that later. What are we buying into, and what are we paying it with? Are we buying into old energy and then paying it with old energy and doubling up on that mentality of I'm sick of being sick all the time? How about I feel good, feeling good, and feeling well? And sick is something that I used to experience, and it's not necessarily something I choose to experience anymore, and I'm in the process of cleansing that. Just one little thought. You know, I get sick from time to time too. You guys heard me lose my voice a month or so back. It's part of this journey for us from one perspective. So that's old energy, third dimensional energy, no longer supported. Fifth dimensional energy, of course, if we're light workers, that's where we're wanting to be. So what are we feeding into? And also when we buy into something, we're giving it power. We are, money is energy. the more we put an infrastructure into, the more we add to it, and the more we value it, the more valuable it becomes, the more important it becomes, the stronger it becomes. So are we feeding into those old things of old earth, religion, social, healing, technology, symptoms, the event, I don't know what else I wrote, politics. Guys, I say this all with love because this can be really good too. Truth is awesome, but what truth are we feeding into? Also being aware of the words. 100%. What? 100% what? An old? 100% of this or 100% of this? Is anything really 100%? The other one that I hear a lot is I do it, right? I used to say, oop, caught myself. I used to say, that's so true. That's so true. Is it? Is it this so true, third dimensional earth, or is it this so true? Right? So just being aware of that, taking responsibility for our words and thinking, and I thought about it later, I'm going, wait a minute, did I just feed that field a little bit? I sure did. Let me delete that and let me just kind of refresh where I'm at. Refresh button. I cleanse that, I integrate it, whatever you need to do. This old energy, I wanted to touch briefly. You guys, I say this with love. I love the truthers. I'm a truther. I believe in the truth. Let's talk about where we're really from. Let's talk about our DNA. However, I also refuse to feed into I'm a victim and I need rescuing, and that the controllers have the control, and in some regards they do or did, right? Again, did. So I'm learning with you guys, and this is all coming through from my guidance team, and it's from my perspective. So I'm just seeing it as that split that we're all hearing about. This is kind of a little bit of that. And birthing the new earth. So there's going to be these old things, this morning sickness, ascension symptoms, growing pain, whatever you want to call it, that can be felt for some, that is now expanding out into this new expansive, ascending, expansion. So we're going from little to bigger, and we're helping to integrate that 5D grid, right, and collaborate so that we can assist this, if it's available, for 3D and for us, and essentially anchor these energies overlaid into those energies. And you guys, that's just from one perspective. Again, you might feel that it's a completely parallel reality, so therefore 3D is no longer even around us, and that's true. Or you might see it as a new earth entirely, that the old earth just goes away. It doesn't matter. What I'm seeing is just the feeling behind it. Does that make sense? Just that feeling of being in a space of non-judgment and accepting ourselves for who we are. So I just wanted to give that really quick recap of the 55-minute video that I did. And if you guys want to watch that, you're more than welcome to. And I'm kind of inviting you guys, again, open heart, open-minded, because I didn't mean any of it from a place of judgment. It's all good. It's just different perspectives, and we're all unique snowflakes melting together to cleanse and purify the earth, cleansing and purifying our bodies, and being aware of what we're feeding into the earth by telling the earth things like, oh, earth's going to die, we're killing it. We're just reinforcing those old patterns. Not to say that those things aren't happening to some degree or didn't happen to some degree, but approaching it from a different energy and saying, what can I do so that the earth can heal? Or what can I do so that there's no pollution? What can I do to clean up the beaches instead of being an Eeyore about it? That's all that I'm expressing here, is what we're being invited to step into that leadership from a higher vibrational perspective, and not from a cataclysmic timeline perspective, because that is certainly not the timeline that I choose to be part of, right? So that's kind of what I'm sharing with you guys, because again, what you buy into, what you resist, persist, what you feed will grow, and what we pay and exchange energy with, right, and value creates an energy around it. So if we value the earth, which I know we all do, then coming from that perspective of not telling the earth that she's dying and not telling the earth that you're miserable, we're miserable, things suck, the earth feels that. The water remembers it. Our bodies remember it. So it's all connected. So we're being invited to step up and step out and expand from these old belief systems that aren't wrong. They're just old. They're just old paradigms that we've been maybe hearing for years and years of old predictions, right, that are based off of an old timeline. And so that's the message I keep getting is expand, express, non-judgment, and it comes through by being here. Even if you feel like this is really what's going on, how can I shift that? I'm going to bless my body. I'm having symptoms. I'm going to bless the food that I'm eating. I'm going to bless Earth for providing me with food. Even if you're in that space of we're being controlled, or if you're in that space of the Earth is dying, what can you do to get excited, to clear that energy or to integrate it so that that energy can be used for something else, to create a new creation in which we are responsible for it. So thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. In love and light. Namaste.